Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can hear you.
Great. Good to see you all. Good to see some familiar faces. Thank you so much for joining us today at the inaugural Muganga showcase. It's great to be joined by so many friends and supporters of this program that we have been running with 5 young entrepreneurs over the last several months during COVID-19. If I can just ask people while we're just to mute yourselves as you can. I will also be muting you at certain points as well, so that we can all make sure that we can hear proceedings. Can I just check that Deborah Rose is joining me as well today? Deborah, are you there? I'm sure she is. Okay, there are so many people that are joining us today that have been so supportive as we have developed this program over the last few months, and we're going to share with you the stories of the 5 young entrepreneurs as well that have really been on a journey during lockdown and COVID-19. There are some people that would love to have been here today, but unfortunately couldn't be. One of whom is a very strong supporter of the program, Dr. Peter Bonfils, the Vice Chancellor and President of the University of Westminster. And really, University of Westminster has supported Shibuka and the development of Shibuka since the very beginning. And despite the fact that Peter could not be with us here today, he wanted to send a message from a holiday he is currently on with his family. So I hope that you can hear this message that he wanted to share with us today.
Hello everyone, my name's Peter Bonfils. I'm Vice Chancellor and President here at the University of Westminster. I'm currently on holiday with my family camping, but I wanted to send you a short message to say have a great day, feel inspired by all those great ideas that you're going to share, and take energy from each other to make your dreams a reality. Have a wonderful experience, have a wonderful day, all the best.
Thank you from Peter. Very nice of him to join us on his holiday. And there are other people that have sent in messages of support as well, which is wonderful. Without further ado, I'd like to also now introduce Pasafik Uwaniza, the director of the Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, who we have been collaborating with for the last few months. Indeed, we first had the conversations with Pasafik last year. So it's been great working with Pasafik on this amazing project. Pasafik, I'd just like to thank you and to let you introduce the next part of the proceedings.
Thank you, Daro, for a great introduction. So this morning, our guest of honor, Honourable Minister of ICT and Innovation, Paula Ingabire, announced she was unable to join us today. However, we are honored and delighted that she's being represented by her Director General of Innovation, Munezero Angelos. Sir, we warmly welcome you to today's session today. So I'm also delighted to welcome our distinguished guests, Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, boards and members, Shibuka members, friends, supporters, and in particular to the 5 entrepreneurs that has been engaged in the first Kwa Muganga, Muraho. So it is my pleasure to welcome you to this great occasion, the inaugural Kwa Muganga showcase. It has really shown what is achievable when people put their resources together, their effort together as one team focused on a common goal. Last year, we first met with representatives from the Shibuka project team who shared with us their vision for a new Rwandan NGO one that would bring global expertise to Rwanda so that best practices could be shared and knowledge transferred to develop sustainable made in Rwanda young entrepreneurs. And so we agreed with them to design and deliver a pilot program in Kigali for some of our members from April up until CHOGM 2020 as an input to the Commonwealth Youth Summit. When in March, it was clear that the lockdown would prevent the Shibuka team from being able to work with our members in workshops in Kigali, we didn't know what we would do. One thing was certain, we need to do something more than ever. Our young entrepreneurs needed a lifeline to know that they were being supported through such unprecedented times. And so you will see we decisively found a way. Shibuka and the chamber quickly pivoted to new landscape, altered by the pandemic, using our collective resources and spirit of agachiro to find a way to support our community. This showcase event that we are about to see is an inspiring global collective response to the COVID-19 pandemic, filmed, produced, and edited completely under social distancing guidelines. Chaos wake-ups our vulnerabilities, among them our need to be connected to a network community of people we know and love. But communities don't just appear of nowhere. The Muganga, this did not just happen. We gathered together into something much bigger, much more profound. And so, on the behalf of Chamber's chairman and all our members, I would like to extend a very hearty and sincere vote of thanks to the many people who have given their time so freely, each of whom have taken time out of their busy schedules, each of whom have committed to this program with whole hearts from Rwanda and around the world. My sincere congratulations goes to Deborah and Loz, Darrell Coffin for their complete dedication and work towards the success of this program. This goes also to each and every one of the global experts, Spinder, Vinci, Kevin, Peter, Sivendi, and Johan, who nurtured our 5 entrepreneurs so that they could pause, rewind, refresh their business models and mindset. We can't forget Daniel Johnson for helping to tell stories of our 5 entrepreneurs. Special thanks also goes to our Honourable Minister of ICT and Innovation, Paula Ingabire, for providing your encouragement and support to our young entrepreneurs. We also take this time to thank our 5 members, Christelle, Bonfils, Fidens, David Idekwe, and Wilson, who took up their challenge to be the brave young entrepreneur leaders and committed to the Muganga from start to finish. Finally, I extend my enormous thanks to the Government of Rwanda, through Rwanda Government's Board, for helping Shibuka registered as an NGO just before the lockdown, to be able to start to support the youth entrepreneurship ecosystem of our country. It's undoubtable that Shibuka will be a role model for youth entrepreneurship empowerment in Rwanda. And we thank them for their usual support. And so, without further delaying, I'm happy to present to you the story of our young entrepreneurs through COVID-19. Let the story commence.
Right, let me find it. That was such a wonderful, wonderful introduction. And I'm just going to find it for us so that we can see this beautiful film that has been produced. Bear with me. I can see it on my screen. For some reason, it's not coming up in the share screen. Aha, I've got it now. Pacific, thank you for your wonderful introduction. Without further ado, we're going to premiere the film.
The company has been affected financially by the COVID-19. We had a very bad experience from the first day of the lockdown because the same day our government took the decision of locking down, we were in the village supplying school equipment with my team works. So the following days were very hard to survive from our homes with limited financial means, and we spent the money that wasn't in our plan, and we've been affected mentally too.
The biggest challenge about COVID-19 for us is we had recently made a big investment to relaunch the company, and it was expected to start returning in 6 to 12 months. And it's been like 5 months that business is really slow because almost 2 months was for lockdown. And it's a really big delay for our project plans as a company for our growth. And it's really staggering our growth.
I'm from Rwanda. I'm a founder and the managing director of Wilson Tours Travelers Limited. It is very tough. It's very tough because of COVID, because the rent of paying a rent is very tough. It's very hard, and some my employees we stopped them because of we don't have their salaries. So we are remaining with very few. So people, the booking we had, our client cancelled our bookings, and reopen the tourism industry. People that don't yet they don't have money to travel, so the consequences are challenges are so many.
The pandemic, I didn't expect anything like the pandemic. We had our 5 years strategic roadmap. We were calling for investors to invest in. We knew how much we're going to put in and how much is going to come out. Would promise like 5% of return on investment, and all that is now not zero, but yeah, you cannot leverage it anymore.
So it was really hard because it was really hard for us. We are in the working logistics sector, so having truck drivers come in the country was really a challenge. And so the way we overcome it, so we talked to some of the entrepreneurs that had some of the containers stuck in Tanzania, so they could sort of work with us, so we can have we can work with two entrepreneurs at the same time and having one container bringing the product at the same time, so they can have sort of sharing containers, and they were working with the truck drivers to bring in the country. Yeah. So I would say that's how we overcome it. So that's how we actually dealt with the situation that we're in. Thank you.
So we had to hire a team. We had only 4 employees. We had to double the team to have 18 collaborators. We had to secure a bigger facility to help our people do the dispatching and the packaging and all the process without abiding the requirements of social distancing, like 2 meters in between 2 people. We had to find another truck, at least a supporting car, a vehicle. We had, everything fell on us.
Though we still have a very long journey to achieve, but the most important achievement is being able to provide educational toys to our clients.
Skills pay the bills. Most women are struggling to raise their kids because of lack of a source of income. We love art and we aspire to bring an impact in our community. That's why we are using our passion to transform women's lives few at a time. We believe in growth, starting small and growing slowly by slowly. We started with one woman, Clarisse, a young talented girl who did not get the chance to finish high school because she became a teenage mother and had to take care of her son earlier on. We reached out to her, we trained her and started working with her on knitting and crocheting projects.
Yo.
saa sita mba nabiriye saa sita.
Thank you. Silence. That was the story of our wonderful 5 young entrepreneurs that came into COVID with some trepidation when the lockdown occurred, and the resilience that they showed through it, and how they are now showing great bravery, resilience, and confidence looking to the future with such optimism. I'd like to open out the to the floor. There's many of us here today that have seen it for the first time. So I'd like to, we have our young entrepreneurs with us, and I'm sure some of you have got some questions that you might like to ask them about the journey that they are on. So can I firstly welcome Professor Gillian Youngs, member of Shibuka. Gillian, I know that you have seen the video and the film, and you work with a lot of young entrepreneurs, so I know you've got a question that you might like to ask them.
Yes, it was wonderful to see and incredibly inspiring to hear the experience of young entrepreneurs so far away, but because I work with young entrepreneurs, to feel connected. One thing that I thought about, and everyone seems so calm and confident and forward-looking, is I wondered if any of the entrepreneurs would share the big thing that inspires them when they feel most challenged, when they feel most overwhelmed about the future and the possibility of their business. What perhaps is the big thing that just keeps them going?
Lovely question. Who would like to answer that? Fidens, I can see you. Would you like to answer Professor Young's question? Fidens, can you hear us? Christelle, are you there?
Yes, I am.
Would you like to answer Professor Gillian Young's question?
Thank you for the question. What inspires me to keep going is every challenge has an end. There is nothing on earth that doesn't have an end. So I think I just have to fight through it, and it will be over at a certain point. And I know when you think hard about a challenge, a problem, you finally get a solution. So it always work together to the best results. Thank you.
Thank you, Christelle. But Bonfils, you say that we're still on the journey, clearly, of COVID. Again, would you like to respond to Gillian?
Thank you so much, Daryl. It's really a pleasure to attend this Shibuka Inaugural today. Thank you for the question. For sure, it was a very long journey, and it was really difficult to overcome this situation, but especially mentally, because hearing that your business is over, you are not allowed to do business, you are not allowed even to leave your home, so you start thinking, what will be next? So the thing that comes already in your mind is that you are going to fall down. You are going to close the doors. So suddenly we had Shibuka kwa Muganga sessions. That's when really almost everything has been restored. How? We had a chance to hear from different people, specialists in business. They showed us how you can survive during the pandemic, how you can keep going, how you can overcome this situation. As a result, sure, I can really testify this. Today, I have more than one contract from the international NGOs that I can keep supplying my toys. So I can imagine what could happen if I would not have this opportunity to attend these sessions. So as I said, the problem was just mental. We had the problem mentally more than tangible problems like financial means, all those situations that people can think is a problem. But mentally, that's where the big problem was. And through Kwa Muganga, it's really a typical clinic we deserved. Thank you.
Thank you very much. How did you feel about, does that answer your questions, Gillian?
Absolutely. I mean, I wanted to share a little story from my end. I work with a lot of entrepreneurs, and one of the ones, an incredible woman who launched a fashion business here. We just ran into each other for coffee actually the other day, and I followed her business from the beginning. This is what I do with entrepreneurs. And she said a couple of weeks before COVID, the lockdown here, she was thinking about actually closing her website. She's got a shop and she runs a website as well. She's built it up. And it just wasn't working right at the moment. So she was thinking, I'll put my energy out of that. She's a sole trader. She's on her own. She just employs somebody else part-time to help a bit, and her husband helps her. And they said, as soon as lockdown happened, obviously I focused on the website, and I was amazed that everyone was really supporting me. And my husband and I have been driving all over, local support she got, and been driving all over delivering because she offered free delivery. And she just kind of explained all this to me in an ordinary way. And I just thought, you know, serendipity and flexibility and, you know, what an achievement. And listening to all of you on the film, and God, how long have I was an entrepreneur before they used the word. I think Darryl was too, in my 20s, a long time ago. And I listened to all of you talking about your businesses and answering those questions as well. And I just think you're just so sort of, you get on with it. And you know, I just in a way want you to be more reflexive about what you are achieving in incredibly, in having that, in sustaining yourselves with that determination and focus. Because I think that, especially now in the times that we're all in, your resilience and the resilience I've seen of entrepreneurs over the years, and in my own little way, in my own business, I remember it, is such an example of how to live, right? Not just in business, but how you just get on with it, as you're saying. And the other thing I'll just mention, because I'm speaking now, that really struck me in the film, and that I would say bravo to all of you, you're bound to be a success, is the amount that you were focused on your customers and your clients and how that's your motivation. And that's so spot on. Sorry, it's an English term, but it's just absolutely right. That's exactly what you dream of as someone who becomes a client of a business. So, and that level of professionalism. But you've given me some thinking about how do we find new ways of getting entrepreneurs to celebrate actually what, I mean, the sharing is vital. I won't bang on about that. The sharing is really important, but I think you need to celebrate yourselves as well, together and individually.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, great celebration. How do you feel about that, Segond? Fidens, how do you feel about that, what Gillian's just said? Fidens, can you?
Yes, I can hear you. Do you hear me?
Yeah.
Right. So I'm really grateful for all this opportunity we've had. I mean, entrepreneurship and first-time entrepreneurs feel it as a solitary journey. And whenever you find someone who just listens to you and on the top can even supplement that with some really critical skills, critical information you need at the right time, and you know that he's a knowledgeable or she is a knowledgeable person who's going not only to tell you what you want to listen to, but is probably going to remove the clouds in your eyes. You feel really, really bad supported. And on the top of that, apart from being grateful, you feel like you are accompanied with some other people in the same situation, and you know they're living the same life, yeah, they're going through the same hardships, and they're not falling down. And you feel, I mean, you're not alone, you're supported, and you also have some really privilege to have experts coming to join your way and to clear the clouds from your eyes. That's something that is, I mean, unbelievable. And we're really grateful. That's the only thing I can add on the top of what you just said.
Right, thank you. Karen Dillon, I believe you're there. Hello, Karen. Can you hear me, Karen? Are you still with us? Okay. Jen Dickinson, Dr. Jen Dickinson, are you with us still?
Yes, I'm here.
Jen, hi.
Oh, hi.
Hi. I know you've done a lot of work with Rwanda diaspora, of course, through the program you've developed in the United Kingdom. I know you also wanted to just, you know, share some insights, and you have a question, I think, for the young entrepreneurs. So.
Yeah, so thank you so much for those presentations. They were really, really inspiring. One of the things that's been challenging for the work that we've been doing with the diaspora is much of what we've been doing is online, which we planned for anyway. And obviously with the pandemic, it's just sort of intensified the amount that we've had to do online. And we're kind of facing a number of challenges associated with having everybody communicating through internet platforms that are not necessarily particularly stable all of the time. And, you know, our participants don't necessarily have the right kind of home environments in which they're able to communicate with one another. So one of the questions that I had for the entrepreneurs is, what is the sort of challenges that you found with online learning through the Shibuka platforms, and how have you been able to overcome those challenges?
Okay, thank you. Who would like to answer that? Bonfils?
Yes, please. I'm here.
Responding to Jen, how did you feel about the online learning, and what were the barriers or the challenges you found? How did you overcome those?
Yeah, challenges to keep going our businesses.
Think about the online. How is the online experience?
Online experience. The good thing is that, and also the challenge at the same time, is that it was my first time to learn from internet. I've heard that people can just get information, or just people can learn from internet, but it was my first time to get this training or any kind of session on internet. So the challenge just was the poor internet. The challenge was just how can I say this? To adapt how well to learn through internet. That was just my challenge. But the good side of that is that I learned a lot. And really, thank you so much. I can see Professor Kevin is there. I have his book here in my room. We had a very, very good experience. I learned a lot. I didn't expect this, that someone can learn from internet and get everything he wants well and perfectly. So thank you so much. It was a good experience for me.
Right. And Dr. Dhaliwal, I can see that you're there. You were the first expert that came in and supported the young entrepreneurs, thinking about the mindset of the millennial entrepreneur. How do you feel about having seen what they've achieved? And you're on mute. You're on mute. Can you unmute yourself, Spinder? Yeah.
There you go.
There you go.
Sorry, everybody. Yeah. No, I was lucky enough to meet everybody very early on, and I was impressed with them then. But you've all experienced the most difficult of times. I mean, really, we could never have predicted this. And I think really with life and with business, you are always going to have hardship. This has been extreme, but you are going to have hardship. So what have you learned about yourselves when you're really at your most vulnerable and your most fearful, you know, when you think there is no tomorrow? How have you felt? Because I think each and every one of you may have experienced that. And it really links back to the resilience and other things that the others have said. Has it strengthened you for tomorrow? Has it strengthened your muscles for going forward?
Fidens, how has it strengthened your muscles for going forwards?
I mean, you cannot pretend you were equipped, especially because when you have to take serious decisions like to part ways with your employees, people you've been working with for the last 3 years, when you have to take decisions like, I need to make sure that I am taking risks in serving people during the COVID, when you're taking some serious decisions about your life, your personal life, it can't but be in a joking mode. But you are the one.
The humor is taking you, yeah.
So you are the only one. You took the decision to start, and you're responsible. You're the last person people go to when in the organization. So
Sure.
you need to grow very quickly, and you can't afford even a second. You spend nights, sleepless nights, but you can't afford a second of absence. And I'll come back to the question of how we juggled with our activities, especially what I do today is delivering fresh food to businesses and homes. And it will catch me when I have orders to deliver. And I had first to make sure that, because I'm excited, when you know you have experts in front of you, are going to tell you more about what's waiting for you in the next 2-3 weeks. You can't afford to lose them as well. So you make sure that you juggle, you probably delay one delivery, but you make sure that at least you listen to the people who have some key tips which are going to help you go through the tunnel. And the muscles, I mean, you learn about yourself, you learn that you can take a lot on you, even beyond what you expected to be able to handle. And you're excited to say, wow, if I've gone through this and I survived, I think I will go to the next 2 to 3 years, and I will probably get to really stabilize things. I mean, you get excited, you know that things will happen and it will never be as bad as it is today.
That's beautifully put. That is absolutely beautifully put. That's great. Anybody else? Otherwise, I've got one more question, Daryl.
Please do, yeah, fire away. I know.
Okay, this is a completely shallow one, and I'm just conscious Malcolm's here, which you know, so he may laugh at me. But you were kind enough to organise 3 chapters of the book. Did any of you buy the book?
Well, they did get it for free, remember, for 3 months.
The whole
So,
book.
you know,
So
yeah, they got the whole book. They got the whole book. So I'm sure they've read it from start to finish.
Oh, there you go.
but I need a dedicated
so
one.
you're only a
Huh?
sale each then. You all have to recommend it to somebody else.
It will always
need.
Yeah.
I'll need a signed one. I need a signed one.
Don't worry.
And
you will get one.
We're very grateful to Macmillan Education for making that available, and we will therefore, as we take this forward, we'll build that into the package, so that every person that comes through the Shibuka program gets a signed copy of your book.
There you go. Yeah, definitely.
You'll have a lot of signing to do, which is great. I mean, someone else whose book I know that Bonfils and David and Christelle and Segond loved is Kevin Keller's book on branding. And they loved that session. In week 4, Kevin joined us with the minister and with Peter Bonfils. I don't know if Kevin, are you there? Can you hear me?
I'm still here. Yep.
How do you feel about, you saw the film? How do you feel about the way in which the guys have really coming through COVID?
Well, it's all the chat, I think, is, it's very inspiring, and, it's so challenging. And I think that there are so many constraints that you have, and that's true in any business when you're trying to get it started, and you add all this on top. And I think so much, I think attitude is really, really key. And I think I'm just really impressed by the attitude and the spirit of the entrepreneurs. And I think that's helping a lot, and their willingness to learn. And as they have been thinking about what to do and taking all the sessions and classes, and I'm sure learning from others, each other, and all that. So I think that is just something that is really, it's a smart thing. It's also very inspiring to see. That one question I guess I might have is, it's always interesting about what surprises you that you might have had, something you didn't anticipate, and obviously didn't anticipate a pandemic and everything else, but given what happened, and in particular, and this may be too specific, but I'm wondering, and Daryl, I think you referred to this earlier, or I think this came up, and it might have been Jillian, but how consumer centric entrepreneurs were, that they really were focusing on their customers, and I even hear this today. And I'm always interested in like learnings or surprises about consumers, because often we think we know them well, and then we learn things as in different circumstances. So I'd be curious, the entrepreneurs, in any surprise, consumer or otherwise, that they sort of had over this period of time. I just think it'd be nice to hear that.
Lovely, thank you. Who would like to answer? Christelle.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about actually thinking about that, how my surprise was Shibuka. When we first started, I was skeptical. I was just, okay, it's related on how it has been for me to learn online. I was just imagining, I couldn't understand how this could transform my way of working, the way I lead my business just online. And I'm getting surprises of how it has changed my perspective of how I run my business, and the feedback from my customers in this difficult time. Like there is a financial crisis because of the pandemic, but I'm getting clients, all because Shibuka changed the way I look at my business and I run my business. So I guess it's just that. Daryl and Deborah had a very interesting way of twisting our minds and the way we used to think, and yeah, I'm getting results. I'm really quite excited for the future. Thank you.
That's actually great to hear. That's I think that's the purpose of certainly of all this, and the goal, and actually have that happen. And credit to everyone behind the program, everyone in the program for making that happen.
Segond, I know, Segond, you'd like to say something. I can see you.
Oh, yeah. Thank you for the question. Kevin was reading my mind. I did a survey a week before the lockdown was lifted in Rwanda. I was asking the customers, have I been able to support you the way you wanted me to, you expected me to support you? 92% said, yes, your service is good, top notch, your products are the freshest on the markets. And when I asked them, what about next week? Are you still going to order from me? They all said, we want to send our house helps to the markets. That's a flashing moment. And I say, wow, I can't blame you. I can't blame me. I did what I could do, but it's the right time to move from online to go offline. And what surprised me was how fast I was quick at rolling out a new way of doing things, linking, building partnerships, necessary mapping of the value chains. And very quickly, in a small team, we've been able to do that, something that we would never have done so fast if we were in a normal condition. So we surprised ourselves, customers surprised us, but they pushed us to be better, to go further and to roll out our full solution.
Excellent. That's great to hear. And I've heard some of the same from some of the companies I work with. They're doing things they didn't think they could do, and partly because they sort of have to, and they're responding. So that's good to hear that story. Thanks.
Thanks. Karen, I understand you've had problems with your internet connection. Are you with us now? Karen Dillon?
Yes, I am. Actually, I'm going to try to put my video on, but hopefully it won't freeze me. I'm really sorry. I've been hearing a lot of you guys in choppy.
Oh, there you go. Hi. Hi. I mean, you've inspired many, including us, with the, as co-author of the Prosperity Paradox, and the whole book has really inspired us. Have these guys inspired you, and have you got some questions?
They're completely inspiring, and I sort of want to echo what was said earlier by Jillian. I think you should take a minute to recognize what you've already accomplished. You're already pivoting and trying to find new ways to survive and keep going, and not let this completely throw you off track. And I guess I would just offer a thought for you that some of the most successful companies in the world started in some of the most difficult times. Toyota, for example, it's sort of history, but you may not know it literally started in a bombed out building in Japan after World War II. It was the building didn't have full roofs, and there were puddles on the floor, and there were all kinds of safety issues. And the people who made the initial products, which were really simple radio and recording devices, actually had to become salesmen because no one was selling. You can learn a lot if you can find ways to survive from being put to the test that way and looking for struggles around you to help people solve. So I want to congratulate you for getting as far as you have been now in finding ways to survive, but also remind you that as innovators and entrepreneurs, your minds are very powerful, and you might have new ways of looking at problems or see opportunities that others might not see. This can be, strangely, a very fertile time for innovation if you can sort of hang in there and survive.
Thank you so much. Does any of our entrepreneurs want to come back to Karen on that?
She is so right. I'm realizing now how strong you can be when you get to overcome something like this. The way I used it, it was so challenging, but it boosted my way of thinking and the way I care about my trainees and my workers, because I wanted to keep them, but the crochet business that I'm in wasn't really working. But I realized when you think hard and when you care, when you don't want something to fail so hard, you always find solutions. I couldn't have done this better without the pandemic. So after the pandemic, I got so many ideas because I had to really go in my mind and think hard about the solutions. Thank you.
Go for it. Go for it.
Great. We've had a lot of support along the way as we've developed Shibuka from a concept into an NGO, and somebody who's back with us in England through the Rwanda High Commission is their partnership manager, Emmanuel. Emmanuel, are you still with us today?
Hi, Daryl. Hello,
Hi,
everyone.
how are
Yes,
you? Good to
I'm
see
here.
you. Good to hear you.
Yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But
Oh, that's good. I mean,
voice
as I mean, certainly, you know, our thanks to her, you know, the High Commissioner, and to her team, including yourself as partnership manager, for really supporting this Shibuka along the way. Thank you so much.
Oh, it's been an absolute pleasure.
And supporting University of Westminster, who have indeed, you know, Segond funded the development of the program. I know you had a question that you wanted to ask them, so fire away.
Well, firstly, it's just to commend you, Daryl, and the team and everybody involved. It's been a pleasure to watch this grow. I mean, the High Commissioner, of course, as you know, she is very, very much supportive of this initiative, and also very pleased that it's, in spite of the challenges that have come up due to COVID, that has continued to move forward. And that's, of course, it's a team effort, so it's credit to everybody here on this call. My question probably has been answered already in some ways, but it's mainly to the entrepreneurs, anybody who can answer really. It was on, of course, this was an unprecedented situation. You know, we did not start the year knowing March there's a lockdown and then COVID is going to affect all of us in this way. So the question more is now, with what you've seen, what would be the lessons learned, you know, looking at the role of creative skills and agility in future-proofing the business. And I remember on the video, someone mentioned, you know, skills pay the bills. So it's just to kind of ask, with what you know now, looking at the future, in the event where something like this might happen again, or something different, what are the lessons learned? What may you probably do differently?
Yeah,
in that situation.
Right. David, I know you're there and you run, you know, Uhuru clearing agency. How have you adapted to the situation?
Yeah, I think that's a good question. I think I would say this program really gave us a good, amazing opportunity. It really helped us really go into digital branding. So what I would say my key takeaway from all this workshop that we had is that as a company, my company, it's a Uhuru clearing, comprehensive customer clearance services for the import and the export consignments in Rwanda and Tanzania. So since we've been working with entrepreneurs, truck drivers, so it was really hard for us to really take our business to digital. But this program really helped us to reflect on our company digital branding. And this workshop really made us really think that most of our company needed to brand ourselves in a way of making it less about the business and maybe more about the contribution that we give to the community. So I think we now understand that it's not only working one-on-one with businesses, but since the future is really taking us on a digital way, so we actually now thinking of ways of now really renovating on a different platform digitally. So I think that's one of the things that I've learned about this workshop going forward.
Right. Christelle, how is it for you? How have you learned to pivot to the future?
I learned that I should not be afraid. Like Segond, Fidens said that if I did overcome this beautifully, I can do anything. And what I learned, something else that I learned was I should really work on my risk analysis, like future risk analysis, put everything into plan so that when it hits, whenever, I'm prepared. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, we've got time for just one or two more questions. I'm looking down people are very inspired by these stories, which is wonderful. You know, stories of hope, determination, and resilience. So huge congratulations on all that you're achieving. I know Dr. Michael Gray is with us as well today, head of Director of Studies at Harrow School, who we work with, and Michael's a Shibuka board member. So hi, Michael.
Hi, Darren.
Good to see you. I know that you would like to ask the guys a question. Thank you.
Thank you very much, and thank you also for the video, which was really inspiring, and the tremendous work which all the entrepreneurs are doing. And the question that I really had was, obviously in times of unprecedented pandemics like the current one, and in these unusual times, there's obviously lots of challenges that those who run businesses face. But there are also often opportunities which emerge, which perhaps wouldn't have emerged outside of these unusual times, perhaps as a consequence of changing consumer demands or changing consumer patterns. And I wondered if anybody had witnessed some of those and was able to comment on what that looked like in the context of their own business and business models.
Sure, great question. Fidens, would you like to answer?
Yes, of course. Thank you for the question. Not only we've learned to be at ease with whatever comes as a challenge. No one wanted this COVID, but if something has come out as a positive result, is learning how you can quickly evolve into a solution and problem solver than just mooning and grudging. So of course, I mean, as a home delivery service of fruits and veggies, the government put us on a list of 8 suppliers officially mandated to be operating during the COVID, something that the government would not have done in a normal situation. So we were put out by the government, pushed on the front line, but also given an opportunity to demonstrate what we are capable of. Beyond that, we didn't have a credit line, but we were empowered and confident enough to go to suppliers and telling them, I am put on the front line, I'm serving people. I want to give you a check and you get your money at the end of the month. And they would accept because they know their truck is going to be used for a special purpose. It's known. I'm not going to wander around with it. I've been confirmed in whatever I do. That's something. I've been validated by the market, and that's an opportunity that has been given by the COVID. And beyond that, I've talked about that a bit, it's an opportunity not only because we've been able to be pushed to the limits that we had to reinvent, and very quickly roll out our full solution. We were online, and consumers' behaviors changed, and they told it to us. We are sending our house helps next week out to the markets. So we knew that it was the last thing they can tell to us to wake us up, to tell us, go into the markets, change the markets, how the markets work today. And you should not just be behind your websites and expect things to run themselves. Be there where we expect you to be. And today, we are not only working with female street vendors, but also we've started sourcing from farmers. August 1st, we have our first people who are getting our products. We've been able to do that because we're put in that situation and customers told us the truth. They don't lie. When they don't buy it from you, you know what to do. You relocate or you meet them where they are. So thank you for your question again.
That was great. Thank you. And thank you, Michael, for that great question. And thank you, everybody, for participating in the Q&A. We're delighted also to be joined by Director General at the Ministry of ICT Innovation, DG for Innovation and Business Development, Munezero Angelos. Angelos, are you there?
Yes, Dalil, I'm here. Are you able to hear me?
We are hearing you loud and clear. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Oh yeah, thank you so much as well to allow me to be part of this exciting meeting.
pleasure. I'd just like to really, over to you really, to maybe give your thoughts and reflections on what you've heard and seen today, and how you feel, you know, we can move forward with Ministry of ICT and Innovation support and commitment.
Yeah, thank you so much, Dalil. Actually, let me first start with the comments made by Fidens right now, because I remember when we were working on the document he mentioned on the list of e-commerce players that we published last, I think, in May. I love the fact that after the first time we published the list of 8 players, most of the other players, around 50, they reached out to me asking me, how can we also be on the list? Please, we are providing the same the services, even though we didn't know that this is happening, but we want also to be sure we are on the list, those kind of things. So I wanted to ensure Fidens and the other colleagues that the government actually is doing great to empower and support them, and also to make sure they are providing services to the society and the citizens. And of course, their services are aligned with the vision, the greater visions of the country at large, of being a cashless and also paperless economy. So that's our vision, and as government, we want to ensure that we are supporting you and again supporting the citizens. And also, then allow me to thank you so much, you, even Deborah, Pacific, and even the other colleagues for this great initiative. I'm actually excited to hear and be informed about Shibuka. Actually, I didn't know about it. I was discussing with me that actually I didn't know about this, but
you do now.
yeah, now I do. And she sent me the video ahead of time, and I was able to go through it. And I was actually so happy to see the outcome of what happened in this initiative for only these few months. And I could imagine what would happen if with the entire innovation ecosystem, we are able to make this and also to reach most of our innovators.
Yeah.
And also on behalf of the Ministry of ICT and Innovation, and as well on behalf of Minister, we would like to thank you so much for this great initiative, for supporting our entrepreneurs, our startups, ecosystem, our innovators during this hard period. This was really great and as well as beneficial. And I think even going forward, we'll be learning from your insight and everything that we knew during this period, and also that will inform us how to even do better in the coming days. As well, I want to congratulate the innovators who participated in this. I was understanding their testimonies here, and I think that's actually awesome. I think from the ministry, we want to to be sure we work with them so that the insight and those kind of learnings they got can be disseminated across the entire ecosystem.
Yeah.
So without taking much of that time, and I would thank you on behalf of the ministry again, and also we're encouraging such initiatives and the support towards our innovators and the entire ecosystem. And the ministry would like to extend and as well amplify even our collaboration on such great initiatives. So thank you so much. And also please apologize to Minister for not participating in this meeting. She had an emergency and she couldn't make it. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Angelos. We're delighted that you could join us and to share those words with us of encouragement and determination. We will, of course, continue collaboratively, and we look forward to catching up with you and the minister after the event for sure about how we move forwards. Thank you so much. Definitely, I'm delighted now. Thank you, Angelos. I'm delighted now that somebody who's really a young entrepreneur from Rwanda, who's really came on board with Shibuka last year. He's a great Rwandan, made in Rwanda architect, Noble Pacific at Kapoa Contractors. He also is our interim deputy legal representative on Shibuka. He He made a lot of the groundwork happen January, February, March to get things through at district level, at sector level, in order to make sure that we could be registered by the Rwanda Governance Board before lockdown. So we're grateful to him for all his efforts moving around Kigali to make that happen. Pacific, I'd like you now to, I know you have a vote of thanks to give to us all, so over to you. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Darrow, and thank you to everyone for this amazing conversation here. I'm glad and I'm very happy that this day is arrived. So, distinguished guests, Chamber of Young Entrepreneurs, board and members, Shibuka members, friends, supporters, and in particular, the 5 entrepreneurs that participated in the first Kwa Muganga. Wow, what is this? What is to say that has not already been said? As my 5 entrepreneurial comrades have expressed so eloquently in the remarkable film we have watched, and in their own words today, we did not see COVID-19 coming. It was not in our plans. The economy was strong. Everyone was looking forward to the future with such optimism. Chagom was in our sight. Yet, sometimes God works in mysterious ways. And in the words of Saint Francis of Assisi, starts by doing what's necessary, then do what's possible. And suddenly, you are doing the impossible. And so, with determination and bravery, guided on the sidelines by an incredible array of people who came together through difficult circumstances, we can all be proud today of our collective and remarkable achievements, particularly given the entirely virtual nature of this program. So no words can do it just, but sincerely, thank you so much to each and every one of you who participated in making this first Kwa Muganga an amazing reality. To creating what is potentially a disruptive game changer for how we can bring about social change, build strong, more confident, more resilient young entrepreneurs in Rwanda, so that many more young people can build sustainable businesses, powering the entrepreneurial engine of a country, participating in the economic recovery plan and the national strategy for transformation. Together, we are indeed stronger as a community, as a nation. As a nation, we have often showed how determined we can be, and we must continue to do so. As the late American poet Theodore Rocky once said, over every mountain there is a path, although it may not be seen from the valley. Together, we have climbed our first mountain together, and now we are at its peak. We can see many more ahead of us. We are ready right now to travel along the path of the next mountain and the next, and the often and the one after other. We can see far into the distance. It's a great view. But to do so requires your continued support and your commitment to Shibuka and its vision. We require investment in the right people, the right resources, the right equipment. We may not be able to control the environment as recent events have proved, but we have demonstrated our ability to put the hard work into our preparations, to adapt quickly and with conviction to the changing circumstance. to operate in extreme conditions, to be humble and willing to learn as a team, and to be resilient and determined to ensure the team returns safely to base camp so that we can plan our next journey. To paraphrase perhaps the great disruptor of all time, Steve Jobs, right now is one of those moments when we are influencing the future. I feel it. I hope you all do so as well. As His Excellency reminded us on April 7th in his Shibuka 26th message, we have learned the importance of working together to build a better future for all Rwandans. The resilience and the collective compassion of Rwandans will continue to serve as well as a nation as we navigate new challenges. As we continue on our journey, we will hold our President's words tight with our heart and our heads. This is just the beginning. Help us to continue the journey, help us to continue the story, and to be able to share many more stories of young entrepreneurs. Thank you.
Wow. Thank you so much, Pacific, for a beautiful close to what has been an inspiring afternoon. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
I think that's a really, thank you. And I think that's a really perfect place to leave this particular Muganga Showcase event. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining us. Thank you, Pacific. Thank you, Pacific number 1, number 2, as we call you both. Pacific at the chamber and Pacific, Pacific at Shibuka. Thank you to everyone that's participated. Thank you to all those that made this possible. And undoubtedly, you know, the largest thanks of all to our 5 young entrepreneurs that really, you know, stepped into the unknown and have been resilient and tough and determined. And we're here to support you on the way through, and we hope we will support many more entrepreneurs to come. Thanks for an inspiring afternoon. Kevin put his thumb up. I'll put my thumb up as well. Good to see you.
Thank you, everyone.
Okay, everybody. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure being here. Thank you.
Everybody.